Hi everyone, it's Tiffany. I'm going to make the Julia Pacheco lentil and potato burritos. However, I'm going to change it a little bit to make it my own and make it a little more filling. I'm going to be adding cheese and rice to mine, as well as the potatoes and lentils. They end up turning out really delicious. So if you want to learn how to make it, just keep on watching. First, I'm going to make some rice. I have 2 cups of rice in the pot, and I'm going to add 4 cups of water, or maybe a little bit more than 4 cups. So it might be 4.5. And then I'm going to cook it for 12 minutes on like medium to low once it starts boiling. Next, I'm going to peel and dice some potatoes. I know this looks like a lot of potatoes, but they're fairly small. The only one that's big is this one, which I'm going to take off those things sprouting off of it, but the other ones are pretty small, and once I peel them, they'll be even smaller. I don't know if I'll need to add any more, but the recipe calls for 3 medium to large potatoes, but these are small potatoes. Okay, next we're going to chop up some potatoes and onions. So I'll show you how to do how small I do the potatoes first. So the potatoes are about this size, and then I'll show you this. They don't have to be uniform because they're going to be mush by the time it's all cooked, and you kind of squish it with a spoon. And then the onion, you're just going to dice it however big or small you want it. I like onions, so it doesn't really bother me if the pieces are a little bigger, but I usually do it about this big for diced. Alright, I've diced all the potatoes and the onions, and then the rice is cooked. And oh, I forgot to mention too at the beginning that I am doubling the recipe, so that's why it looks like there's a lot of potatoes, because I'm doubling the recipe that is usually that Julia does. Alright, I am going to get all the seasonings ready now. So the recipe calls for a teaspoon of all of these seasonings, or whatever seasonings you prefer, but this is what I like. So cumin, we got paprika, this is salt, pepper, oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, and chili powder. So a teaspoon of each, but being as I'm doubling the recipe, I will be doing 2 teaspoons of each. Thank you. Next, we can add about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and saute some onions, and then once they are sauteed for about 3 to 4 minutes, you'll add some minced garlic. Now I've added the garlic, and you just let it saute for like 30 seconds roughly, and you add as much garlic as you want to. I put a huge tablespoon because I love garlic. Next, add waters, lentils, potatoes, and seasonings. So far I've added 2 cups of broth. You don't have to use broth, but I like to add broth, so I added beef broth to my own. You don't have to do that. You can add water, and it's totally fine, but I find it adds more flavor. Alright, everything is added. I have potatoes and lentils and seasonings and water, and then you just let it cook for until the lentils are the desired consistency. So in the recipe it says for about 20 minutes, but I find that that's not long enough for me, so I usually do at least 30 to 35 minutes myself. This is what it should look like when it's all cooked, and then as the lentils are cooking, you may have to add extra water so that the water level doesn't get too low, but then as it sits after the heat is turned off, it will thicken. And then what I like to do is take the back of my spoon, and I will squish the potatoes a little bit, not all of them, just some of them. Then that makes it even thicker. And then once you've done that, you can add the rice is here. I will put a whole bunch of rice into the lentil mixture. I will show you what it looks like once it's mixed. Alright, I have mixed all the rice in, so it makes a big pot. This is a big stock pot. That's maybe a little less than half of the stock pot filled. But then once I get the tortillas ready, then I'll start filling the tortillas and make some burritos. Also, at this step, you might want to taste it and see if it needs any more seasoning, salt, pepper, or other flavorings that you might like before you put it into the burrito. I also grated some cheese. You don't have to use cheese if you don't want to, but I choose to use cheese in my burritos with the rice and cheese, and that's how I changed it from the original recipe. The original recipe does not have rice and cheese in it. All right, everybody, I'm just gonna fill up the burritos. I have about a 3/4 of a cup here. I'm gonna put into each burrito. So I'm just gonna put it here, and I'm also gonna add some cheese on top. And then all you do now is you just fold in the one end and you fold both sides like this, and you're just gonna roll and kind of tuck in the edges as you're rolling, and then you keep rolling. I may have put a little bit too much, but it makes it a little bit more hearty. And you lay it on your parchment paper, and then once I've rolled all of them, I will roll them up in saran wrap and freeze them.